how you doing there? Henry Olsen here from Super Simple Guitar, and that's really hard to play. I've been trying to get it to flow. That's as good as I could do, so I hope it's pretty good. I hope you guys are like, all right, that sounds good. Okay, so my friends, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning some Jimi Hendrix tricks, and we're going to learn, the style of Jimi Hendrix. I'm going to be showing you three main shapes of chords that Jimmy used, and John Mayer and John Frusciante and all these guys that have been inspired by Hendrix. It's a very unique way of playing that really is Stevie Ray Vaughan, that is really Hendrix invented it more or less and inspired an entire generation of guitarists. So I'm going to be showing you two pentatonic shapes that you maybe already know. That would be great. If not, I'm still going to be showing them to you. And I'm going to be showing you three chord shapes and how those two pentatonic shapes melt together as one, right? I watched quite a few different guitar teachers online, and nobody really talked about this. I learned a lot of stuff from them, like some good ideas to tell you guys, but nobody was really putting this together the way that I'm going to teach you. So I'm basically giving you the lesson that I was kind of missing and that I wish I would have seen, because I understand a lot of this stuff, right? Okay, so let's just get into it. Let's get into the close-up and let me teach you this. One other thing, I'm thinking about creating a Hendrix course, like a step-by-step Hendrix course that would be much more broad than what this lesson's going to be, with PDF files and backing tracks and, tablature and all that stuff. So if you want to learn more, then let me know in the comments so I know whether to invest the time and the effort in like an entire Hendrix course, okay? All right, let's get into the close-up now. Let's check out this tune. See you there. All right, so welcome to the close-up. So check it out. I'm going to be showing you three shapes. The first one is the major shape. The second one is the second major shape. And the third one is the minor shape. Okay, so I played an A major, an A minor, and an A major, but now with the 5th string root note. And these two were both 6th string root note. Okay, and those three shapes are going to get you through like 90% of Hendrix isms. Okay. Okay, so you got to just know these shapes and understand the scales that run through the shapes, and that's going to help you understand how this all fits together, okay? So let's learn our first shape. So the first one is the A major shape, right? And this is movable. All these chords are movable, okay? But we're just doing this example in the key of A, or with a chord A, okay? So check it out. What Hendrix would do is he would break down this big chord into little triads, and he'd use his thumb to get that bass note. So he wouldn't play like this, he'd use his thumb, and that takes some getting used to if you've never done it, okay? So you're gonna have to play with this if you've never done it. It took me a while to get my thumb really comfortable, but it will come if you practice, okay? So check it out. The main thing with this shape is you play this note, and this note, right, which are in that big bar chord. You just finger them differently, and then that frees up your pinky. Okay, so what that allows you to do is build these little licks with your pinky. So what Hendrix would do is he wouldn't just go and play like a little rhythm like that. He'd go. So I'm using my pinky to make these little runs, which also isn't the easiest thing to do if you've never done it, but this is a great way to strengthen your pinky, okay? So again, these notes are being covered by these fingers, the thumb is being covered by this, and then the pinky is free to do its kind of mayhem. And you're gonna have to get creative with this, right? This is just something you have to play with. There's no real playbook for it unless I make a course. Let me know if you want me to make a course. where I really come up with concrete licks. But it's a cool way to just improvise and you know, come up with licks. Like a cool thing that you could do, now that you know that these two notes are at your disposal, so you think of this as a box, right? This is your A major box. And the notes that are at your disposal for building licks are these three. So everything in this fret is at your disposal. This entire fret, except for this note, is at your disposal, right? So now that you know you have these two notes that you can play with, you could, for instance, do a little slide in. So you could go, right? You gotta get creative with it, but you can do slides in, you can do all kinds of different double stops, okay? So that's the first one, the first Hendrix-ism. One other cool one that you can do is that. So this you already had in the chord, and then these are sixths. So that's these two, and then these two. So you just go from here, which is already in that chord, except we're only playing two notes, then these two, and then these two. So you could go. I'm improvising now, but those are the Hendrix-isms that I'm giving you for this shape, okay? So now, let's move on to our next shape, and then the next one, and then I'm gonna show you how the scales run through these if you wanna get even more crazy with them and expand and add in even more notes, okay? So now let's check out our minor one, okay? So let's say it's a minor chord. So let's say your first chord was A major, and then we go to an F sharp minor, which is in the key of A, right? That's a normal chord change that would happen. So what do you have at your disposal as far as licks that you can do with this shape, okay? So again, Hendrix would kind of just do this with it, you know, instead of having the major note, because this is the major third here. For the minor F sharp, you just flatten that third, and now you have an F sharp minor, right? So to add in cool stuff to this, the cool thing is you have the minor pentatonic, which is hopefully a scale that you already know. So F sharp minor pentatonic looks like this. Any of these notes you can use on a minor chord, any minor chord if you're playing as a bar chord. So if you want to make it sound a little bit sad, again, I'm just noodling around here. It depends on the song, it depends on the context. But just so you know, when you're in this box, you could either play it like this, or you could have this finger here. Again, the thumb is covered by the bass. Sorry, I played a major there. The main thing that you'll see happen are these three notes. These three are the ones that get most of the attention normally. You could do a little double stop with these two, again, in the minor pentatonic. But the ones you'll normally see getting the beating are these guys. Okay, so again, I'm doing double stops. I'm holding down the second and third string, hammering down only on the third string, and then pulling off. Then I'm going to this next note, repeating. Okay. Again, you gotta play with it, but these are the notes that'll work, okay? So that's for your minor chord. Again, this would work on an A minor. I had that major in there. That was a mistake, sorry. now I did it with these two, right? I did a double stop. Hendrix would also do a lot of like hammer on and pull offy things. So that's from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, hammered. Then I picked this note, then I went. So A minor. Okay. F sharp minor. Okay. So again, for your major chord, you've got these guys. Okay. That's kind of like the little wing. Intro. Okay, that's for your minor chord. And now there's one more that I wanted to show you, and that is the major chord, but with the 5th string root note. So the trick with this one, now I'm playing an D major. So for this one, the trick with this one is you can do something sneaky. If you know your minor pentatonic scale, like I showed you before on the F sharp minor, you can slide over. So if this is your D major, right? You can slide over here and then use that same pentatonic shape, which is the one that we use for the minor pentatonic, right? Okay, so I know that might confuse you just a little bit, but I'm going to try to bring it all together. So just know this. When you're playing this shape and you want to find a pentatonic scale that's going to work with it, it's here. Because that's D major pentatonic, but starting on the 5th pentatonic shape. I know this might be confusing you, but I have an entire solo guitar course where I actually have PDF charts and a lot of time to step-by-step break it down. So if you really want to understand this in depth, inside of the All Access membership, all of that lives, okay? But I'm going to try to make it as easy to understand as I can in this kind of short lesson here, okay? So just remember, when you're playing a major chord with the 5th string root note that looks like this, like an A major, right? Just now we're using that shape to get an E. The pentatonic shape that'll work is the first one that you normally learn. So it's right here. You're holding the chord like this, and then you just slide, 2 frets up, and that's where the shape is. Okay, so check it out. And what this is here is what's called an inversion, the first inversion. Because now, instead of my root being on the bass, the 3rd is on the bass. And you can totally do that. Hendrix did that all the time. Instead of having the 1 as his lowest note in the chord, the kind of bass note, he'd have the 3rd there. Like in, then that's what he was doing. He was using that inversion, right? So if you're on this shape, just know you have the pentatonic at your disposal here, okay? It sounds a little strange to end it with the 3rd as your lowest note, but you can totally do it, especially if it's in the context with the band, it'll work, okay? So just to recap, if you're playing a major shape, a major chord shape, you have these notes at your disposal. If you're playing a minor shape, you have that minor pentatonic shape at your disposal. If you're playing a major shape with the 5th string root note, you have this shape pentatonic shape at your disposal, okay? And what Hendrix would do is he would treat each individual chord as its own island, basically. So if he was playing an A major chord, he would play A major over it. If he was playing an E chord, he would play E major, the E major scale over it, and so on. If he was playing A minor, he'd play the A minor scale over it. You know, and pentatonic is a great way to start. You don't have to use pentatonic though. If you know the entire major scale, which is 7 notes, pentatonic only has 5, then you could broaden that out and play all 7 as well, which will give you even more color and flavor, which is what's happening in this A major shape with that sus4. The sus4 isn't in the pentatonic. The pentatonic is this. The sus4 isn't in there. That's in the major scale, right? So, okay, we talked about the minor chords so far, and we talked a little bit about this major chord in this shape. Okay, so now let me show you the scale that runs through these major bar chords. One other thing. So in that D shape that I was showing you, you can move that around, right? You can move that, right? Right? I'm just showing you the first pentatonic shape for orientation. So once you know where your first shape is, if you know how the rest of the shapes connect and move with each other, you can move that up and down. But the easiest way to start putting in little lead lines is just knowing that the notes are here. Okay, so let's say I'm playing a chord progression that's going A major into F sharp minor, and then into D, and then back into A. Okay, so what you could do, let's do an example. So A. So that was the A. Going into the F sharp minor, D, back into the A, starting on A again. See, I did a little lick there. Going back into the F sharp minor, right? Going into that D, back into A. Okay, so that's what you can do. Those are just the notes that are closest to you, right? Okay, I hope I'm not confusing you. This is really hard to explain in a clear way. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So one other thing that I wanted to say was with the A major, the major scale is running through it. Okay, so if you know your major pentatonic scale, just start on the note A, and you'll see that's another way of seeing what notes will work. Okay, so yeah, I think that's about that. So those are the 3 shapes. If you know your pentatonic, both minor and major, and you know those shapes, and you understand how those shapes are movable and how they connect with each other, the only thing that you need to understand then is when a chord is minor, you're just going to use the minor pentatonic over it. If the chord is major, you're going to use the major pentatonic over it. All right, so now you know over the major chord, you use the major pentatonic. Over the minor chord, you use the minor pentatonic. And if you just want a quick little hack, you know, a shortcut to getting to those notes, I showed them to you now, okay? So if you want to go further, if you want to really understand how the pentatonic works and what shape to use when and how they, you know, connect with each other, and you don't understand that, it's just too much information for me to put in this one lesson. So inside of my All Access membership, I have structured step-by-step lessons with PDF files where I teach all of that, okay? And I also have a music theory course, so you'll understand really in depth why these things all fit with each other, okay? Okay, I hope this made sense. I hope you're gonna be able to implement this now into your own playing and come up with your own Hendrix isms. All right, Henry Olson here. Let me know if this helped you. I hope it did, and I will see you very soon with another lesson. All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.